Hey guys. Okay, we did a little bit of a lesson last time. This is going to be a much shorter lesson this time, but I want to cover some terms we didn't before and add to your knowledge base a little bit. Um, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the techniques that poets use. So, we talked last time about meter and we talked about verse and stanzas and several other topics. So, I want to talk about a few other things here that will be handy for you to know. And yes, I'm moving papers around. So, I just threw myself upside down. Oh well, wouldn't be the first time. Any of you know my history of messing with my chickens will get a laugh out of that one. All right, so there's a couple more meters we need to talk about. These are ones you'll see them, but they're not quite as common. Anapest are two unstressed, and one stress syllable. Now, Dr. Seuss uses these a lot. On the 13th, 13 of May, in the jungle of Newell, and I'm not sure what this is from. So on the 13th of May, in the jungle of Newell. That's Anapest. So unstressed, unstressed, stressed. Like I said, I'm not going to, like I told you last time, I'm not going to hold you to figuring out meter all the time. But when we do an analysis, you're going to have to at least be able to tell me this poem's written in this meter, in this many feet per verse. So you're going to be able to tell me, is it iambic pentameter, is troic triameter, is it anapest sextameter, whatever it might be. The other one to look at is called dactyl, and that is a stress and two unstressed. Now, these are used in poems where somebody wants to get really serious. From the Ride of the Light Brigade. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. So we have stressed, unstressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, unstressed, and then stressed and unstressed. So he switches up. There's a trochee. Half a league, half a league, half a league more. It puts a lot of emphasis on that first word. So you're going in, it's driving you. It's kind of like with the spondy, where it's boom, boom, boom. Here it's boom, cha, cha, boom, cha, cha. So these are a couple more that you need to know: anapest and dactyl. Some other poetry specific terms: apostrophe. Now this isn't like the little mark you see, but this means that the speaker is talking directly to someone. Someone or thing that's not there. Walt Whitman, Captain, oh Captain. He's talking to Abraham Lincoln after Lincoln is dead. You'll see these you'll see the apostrophes quite a bit. Um, Shakespeare's sonnet, how shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art brighter than the sun. The subject is not necessarily there, but they're talking to them. A Caesara. It's very simply a pause. Now, oftentimes, and we're going to look at a little bit of Emily Dickinson, she'll put in Caesaras. So you might have a fly flew by, then a little pause, and died. So you have a little pause. So a fly flew by and died. Sometimes they come in the middle, sometimes they'll come at the end of a sentence, but it's some kind of a pause. And it's used to create a little bit of tension, a little bit of anticipation. Enjambment. And I misspelled it. It's late in the afternoon and I've been doing things, but that's no excuse. Enjambment, that's when a verse continues on the next line. So, in other words, instead of coming to an end of the line, there being a punctuation, it just goes on and you just keep reading. Now, that's one of the things that people make mistakes in poetry, reading poetry, is you want to stop at the end of each line. You read it just like you would prose. You read it until you come to punctuation, whatever that punctuation may be. Another term, explication. Now, in prose, we call it analysis. Explication goes a little bit past just thematic analysis of things. You explain the form of the poem, the type of poem it is, the meter, the rhyme scheme, and all that. Then you talk about meaning. A refrain. A refrain, very simply, is a repetition of a line, of a stanza. In music, we call it the chorus. So if you think about, listen to your favorite song, and they sing about something, then they do a chorus, then they go back and they sing some more, then they go back to the chorus. That's what a refrain is. And then finally, scansion. That is when you go through and you mark the beat. That's when you go through and mark the beat or the meter. Now, one more thing I want to talk about just very briefly. Poetry and poets use large amounts of figurative language to develop their poems, to develop the pictures in your mind, like imagery, hyperbole, understatement, all those things. Now, all those things you should have already been exposed to. And so we shouldn't have to go into depth of what each of those things are. The main thing I want you to remember are what the poetry specific terminology is. So we will talk again later. And thanks very much.